I thought when we got some pressure on them, they got a little bit sped up, and things got a little bit fast. I thought when KK and when Aubrey came in, I think it had a big effect. They don't turn it over a lot because they're an experienced team, they're a veteran team, and they handle the ball really well. But they play with such a rhythm that our whole objective was just to disrupt their rhythm, and I thought it was obviously the turning point in the game.
You guys have been working on the press all season, and that's what really kind of took Creighton out of the game early today. What is it about the press that you feel like you guys have really nailed down so far this year, and why did it work so well today?
We don't use it as much as people think, and we don't necessarily trap out of it as much as maybe some other people do. I think it depends on the lineup that we have and who we're playing against. Some teams we can, other teams we can't. And the danger of doing that is, you leave a couple people open for open threes, and it's probably why a lot of teams don't press as much as they used to, because, in the past you would just be giving up a two, and now you're giving up threes. But it does come in handy in some games against certain teams. I don't think we're great at it, but when we do it in spurts and they're not quite sure when it's coming, it's very effective.
I think we talked about this when we reach certain milestones during the season, whether it's number of wins or a championship or whatever. But I asked Coach Flannery about how hard it is to maintain the consistency your program has for 3+ decades. Can you talk about how that happens, and doing the things that you do year after year with obviously different players and being able to have maintained it for so long?
It's certainly much different, and it's a different time, a different era, so there's different factors involved. But the one constant, obviously, in any long, when you have longevity, it has to do with the ability to get, the kind of players that play at a high level and can fit in here and want to play in this kind of environment and in this style of play. We haven't varied from what we started with in 1985. Obviously, the players that we have are better, but the same things, the same traits. If you watched our first Big East championship game in 1989, I guess it was, those players didn't look like these players, but they have very similar characteristics, So that's the biggest part of it. I really, it's ingrained in our culture. This is what we do. We talk about it all the time. Even after all these years, it was a topic today with our team after the game that in 1985, our goal was to just make the Big East tournament, just to be able to play a game in the Big East tournament. And when when we made the Big East tournament that very first year, we celebrated like we had accomplished something really, really significant. And I don't want it to all of a sudden be, well, it's national championship or bust at UConn, that winning regular season championships doesn't matter anymore, because it does matter. And we've always made it matter. It's always been important to us. And it's taken its toll, trust me. All this time, all this. But hey, we put up a whopping 9 points in the fourth quarter. So I haven't lost my touch.
Going off of Carl's question, is there anything special or unique about this regular season title that maybe is different from other seasons?
Well, the one thing that I did bring up was that we had to beat a team that if we hadn't won tonight, we would share the title unless something happens this weekend. We still have to win this weekend, and, they have to win. But if they would have won tonight, then we'd be sharing a title. So it wasn't like we were playing the eighth place team or the 10th place team, and, we had to do it the hard way. We had to beat, a really, really good team. So that's unusual. It doesn't fall that way a lot of times. So, yeah, this was a big, big game, and I'm sure we're going to see them again sooner rather than later.
Two conferences ago in the original Big East,
Yeah.
Obviously, you had Notre Dame, you had to get by, you had the good Rutgers teams in those days. Louisville was in the league.
Yeah.
The years of the American, and since you've been back in this conference, it hasn't been like that, obviously. You haven't been challenged like that. Does the program lose something? Does the program suffer in some way from that? I know you still want it to matter that you win the league, but the challenges haven't been there that were there 20 years ago. Is it?
Yeah.
Does that take anything away from it?
You can't dictate, who's in your league, what the schedule is. All you got to do is just play the teams they put in front of you. Did it have a certain aura to it when the final, the semis and the finals in the Big East tournament were, 4 teams in the top 10 in the country? Yeah, I think it's lost a little bit of that luster, that aura that it had when those, when we were in that league, and does it mean as much? I'm sure to the players it does, because they don't know any better. They weren't there, right? So to them, Sarah was happy. She was surprised we got a T-shirt for winning it. Yeah, if it was different time, different era, different circumstances, yeah. But that's why I said you still have to figure out a way to celebrate these accomplishments, these achievements. But even back then, I got to tell you, and I think that's probably, and I don't, people in this room, I don't go around talking about, our accomplishments as anything other than, something that we work really hard for. But it also, during that time, became the only thing that mattered was the tournament. That if you won the regular season, there were regular season Big East championship trophies scattered over Gamble Pavilion that I have no idea where they are, because after a while, the first one, I know exactly where that one is. But some of the other ones, it became, well, now it's only about, you have to win the tournament. If you don't win the tournament, then you're not the Big East champion. And then even after that, even that sometimes got overshadowed. Last year, the kids celebrated really, really a lot for winning the tournament because of what we had to go through to get there. But yeah, I don't want it to get like that where it's diminished. You know, whatever happens on the outside, I can't control, but I can control that, you know, that we appreciate it.
Paige's assists are way up over the last couple of games. Are you happy right now with the balance she's finding between ball handling and playing off ball as you guys head into postseason?
Yeah, we made a concerted effort to put the ball in her hands more often. I mean, actually, she kind of forced us to do it because she refused to run up the floor when she didn't get the outlet pass. So if we didn't put the ball in her hand, she wasn't going to run up there anyway. So we're like, what's the point? She wants the ball in her hand, and, you know, she's pouting over there. So let's give her the ball and let her do what she wants with it. And because she has it in her hands a lot more now, she has the ability to, you know, kind of dictate where the ball is going to go. And, you know, Caitlin and KK, they're fine. Just sprint up the floor. And so Paige is playing the way she wants to play. And it's actually better for us to play that way. So that's what those numbers reflect, really.
Geno, you've been wanting to improve your three-point defense. Just given the type of team that Creighton is, how do you think you did tonight?
What were they? 8 for 28. Yeah. I mean, they got a bunch of open ones that they missed. But I think that when you play with the intent that you're going to do that, it does, you know, they may be open, but they were rushed to get that open shot. And that's all we can do, you know. They're not the kind of team where you could just say, we're not going to let them take threes. They're just really good at getting them. So I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was, you know, better than, let's say, Butler, better than the way we guarded the three in the Butler game. So, you know, every team presents its certain challenge. And I did talk to the team about that. I don't know, we were like 100 and some in our three-point field goal percentage defense. So I think today we got better at it, you know. But we didn't shoot it great either, so they did. They shot it a little. We shot it a little better than them, I think. We didn't take as many. Ay, 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 ay.
Jeff, if you'll indulge me an off-the-wall topic. Obviously, Gene Hackman died today. I'm just wondering, did you watch Hoosiers? Are you a fan of the movie? Do you like the way?
Yeah, you know,
Coach was portrayed?
I said today, I said, how about it happens, you know, like, what, 5 days or whenever it was, we were just in his place. You know, we were just at Hinkle. And I was trying to explain to my players, I would say 90% of them had never seen the movie. They didn't even know what the hell it was, right? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, I had, you know, I think they're more, you know, loving basketball and, you know, whatever else, other movies came along. But as I actually, you know, walked over to SNY people and I said, you know, I'm walking around here and I'm trying to see the spot where Jimmy Chitwood, you know, made the jump shot. It's you know, it's a story that will live on forever for any basketball player and any basketball coach. And yeah, he played that role in a way that I'm familiar with that role. You know, a lot of coaches could relate to him playing that role that way, the way he played it. But Yeah, when I saw that this morning, it's, you know, it's kind of the first thing. Well, I'm old enough. The first thing that popped in my mind was the French Connection, right? That for me, you know, before anybody in this room was even, and so that's the first one that came up to me. And one of my favorite Gene Hackman roles was in him in the Birdcage. That was one of the greatest roles of all time. I mean, I don't even have to watch it, start laughing. I just have to think about it, and I laugh. The fact that he's such a great actor, and no one would ever take him for being, you know, able to play that kind of role. You know, you just see him as like this tough guy, a rough guy, and he's, you know, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. We lost a great actor. Yeah, you know what? I never saw that. Was it in Superman? Was he in Superman? Yeah, they said he was unbelievable. I never saw that movie. Yeah. I don't know why I have this aversion to those kind of movies, because I read all the comic books and I don't want to see it in the movies. But everybody tells it. Everybody says, huh?
Christopher Reeve was really good in that
Oh,
role.
yeah. I didn't see that movie. Be honest to God, I didn't see it. I really didn't. You know, I was more of a Thor guy, not Superman. More Thor. He was the guy, I thought. I mean, the guy had a hammer. Just like I was a Hercules guy, you know? I don't know. When you're a kid, you get hooked on these characters. So there you have it.